President Trump has announced he'll hold talks with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. The surprise decision comes after months of growing tension in which the two men have traded insults. South Korean officials who've brokered the talks describe it as a miracle and say the North is now committed to denuclearization and has promised to halt all nuclear and missile tests. Our North America correspondent Nick Bryant has more.
Last night, the precincts of the White House felt more like the Twilight Zone. Donald Trump slipping into the press briefing room unannounced to tell reporters to expect a major announcement.
Here we go.
Then out from the West Wing came a delegation from South Korea to make one of the most stunning diplomatic statements in decades after delivering to Donald Trump a message from Kim Jong-un.
He expressed his eagerness to meet President Trump as soon as possible. President Trump appreciated the briefing and said he would meet Kim Jong-un by May to achieve permanent denuclearization.
Prior to arriving in Washington, they'd held a meeting in Pyongyang, with Kim Jong-un offering a warm hand of friendship rather than rattling his usual saber. And on state TV, the schmaltzy soundtrack doubled as diplomatic mood music because the North Korean leader offered to abandon his country's nuclear arsenal in return for security guarantees from the United States. Then came this sentimental farewell, Kim Jong-un sending them off not just with a wave, but an invitation to Mr. Trump, the most improbable of overtures. Donald Trump gave his response on Twitter. Great progress being made, but sanctions will remain until an agreement is reached. Meeting being planned. The White House claims his tough talk has worked.
They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
Washington has been in a whirlwind, taken completely by surprise, because shortly before the shock announcement, America's chief diplomat had ruled out direct talks with Pyongyang.
In terms of direct talks with the United States, and you asked negotiations, and we're a long ways from negotiations.
This is a huge gamble which offers Pyongyang a propaganda coup without much diplomatic groundwork, without a guarantee of success. But all of Donald Trump's presidential predecessors have failed to halt North Korea's nuclear program. So perhaps it's worth this dramatic new gesture. Two combustible leaders dealing with what's potentially the world's most combustible problem. Diplomacy like a Las Vegas title fight, the international summit of the century. Nick Bryant, BBC News, Washington.
As we heard there, today's announcement follows something of a thawing of relations between North and South Korea that saw them march under a single flag at the Winter Olympics. The South Korean President Moon Jae-in described the planned meeting with its unpredictable and heavily armed neighbour as a milestone for peace. But how has the news gone down in the capital, Seoul? Laura Bicker has been finding out.
For months, Seoul wondered if it faced the prospect of war once again. Today it woke to better news.
북한 김정은 노동당 위원장과 미국 트럼프 대통령이
The prospect of a stunning Trump-Kim summit has turned an impending crisis into an opportunity. The horror of the Korean War is not forgotten here. The fighting ended with no peace treaty. Now future generations hope these talks will prevent further confrontation.
I think this will be a turning point, and through this our future children will benefit from living in a more free and peaceful world.
I think it is a good thing for both countries. And as a South Korean citizen, it's good that the threat of war has reduced even by a little.
Even if things turn out well, it won't benefit the people in North Korea. In the past, when the South Korean president provided aid to North Korea, I heard almost none of it went to the common people. So I don't think it's going to turn out well.
Decades of distrust and suspicion divide North and South. People have learned that hope can be a bad thing. I'm told it's hard to tell what is real progress and what is propaganda.
A strong word of caution. The road ahead is very long, very complicated, very complex, and there's no guarantee that the North will ever give up its nuclear weapons easily, if at all.
These talks are a huge political gamble. Presidents Moon and Trump could be being played by Pyongyang, or this peninsula could be on the verge of something it's been searching for nearly 7 decades, a peace treaty.
This statue portrays two brothers divided by the war in a last desperate embrace. There's a sense of cautious optimism that this unresolved conflict could now have a happier ending. Laura Bicker, BBC News, Seoul.
Well, we can speak now to Professor Hazel Smith from the Centre of Korean Studies at SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies. She's also the author of North Korea, Markets and Military Rule and joins us live via webcam from Sheffield. Thank you for joining us this evening. Some are describing this as a miracle. Were you surprised? And how has this come about so apparently, so suddenly?
I wasn't surprised, and I don't think it's come about very suddenly. Despite all the bluster, and of course this is what gets reported in the media when we see either President Trump's Twitters or the North Korean news agency making quite bizarre claims, what we've seen behind the scenes since the escalating tensions of the last year is a steady progress in diplomacy behind the scenes, mainly led by South Korea, which has been engaged in some very, very sophisticated diplomacy, both with North Korea behind the scenes, not in order to engage in substantive talks on the nuclear issue yet, but simply to open up communications. But at the same time, they've kept the United States very, very firmly on board. And this is very different from the so-called engagement or sunshine policy of the 2000s, when South Korea went ahead with rapprochement with North Korea, but this was not done in conjunction with the United States. And so what we see now is a very different international context. And in fact, the South Koreans, I think, are being very, very astute in their relationships with the United States. The chief negotiator who went to Pyongyang came back and reported back in South Korea, and then he immediately went to Washington. At every level, the officials in the State Department previously, but obviously not Mr. Tillerson yesterday, have been kept informed about what the South Koreans have been doing. And President Trump himself has said on and off, ever since he was a candidate, that he didn't rule out meeting with Kim Jong-un if this would progress the issue. So I think we have seen all the various stars in place, and now perhaps they've become aligned. As some of your commentary has said in the introduction to this piece, there's still a long way to go. We're talking about talks about negotiations now, not about any final product.
So why is North Korea doing this now? What is in it for them, given we've had all that tough talk, if you like? Is it because sanctions are kicking in a way that they need to now do something about?
Well, it's a bit of both. It's a number of different things. Strategically, they have said, right since the end of the Cold War, when they began to develop their own nuclear program, after the Soviet Union, then Russia said that they were no longer going to protect the DPRK, the North Korea, through its nuclear program. North Korea said, right, we're going to develop our own because we don't feel safe, and we think that this will deter any potential military intervention from abroad. And that's their. We might not agree with their rationale, but that's what they've said. What they want, and what they've made clear over the past 20 or so years, is a security guarantee, which they're saying again, which is a security guarantee against military intervention from abroad. But also importantly, they want to, in whatever way that can be arranged, in any form of treaty, and they'll want a treaty, to protect against the possibility of support for any domestic opposition at home. And that will be tricky, I think, for the United States to handle. Of course, North Korea is affected by economic sanctions, but not as much as one might think, because its trade is very, very low. Compared to most countries, North Korea's dependence on trade is not high at all. It's a very poor country. It's one of the World Bank's poorest countries in the world. At the same time, North Korean policy is to economically develop the country, and it can't do that without foreign investment, and it can't get foreign investment until the nuclear crisis is sorted out. No either private investor or public investor like the World Bank is going to transfer the sorts of funds into North Korea, either as loans or as grants, without the tensions and the nuclear issue being resolved. So for them, in order to appease particularly their young people, who see consumers benefiting in South Korea and China. They want to improve the standard of living for their people because they think this will guarantee against political, not guarantee, but it will help them guard off political discontent. They can't do that without a security deal. So for them, the motivation is absolutely clear. It's security guarantees and then the possibility of moving towards some form of economic development after that.
OK, Professor Hazel Smith, thank you very much for that. And thank you for joining us this evening.